making a waste-free future happen together. Your partner for change. CalRecycle is advancing world-leading reforms to cut waste and build circular use systems for all materials. Join California's climate fight and shift to a circular use economy. CalRecycle's monthly public meeting starts now.
Good morning. Thank you for joining for CalRecycle's November public meeting. Good to have you all in the room. A quick reminder, we will briefly pause after each agenda item to give our live Spanish language interpreters time to relay information. We're taking live public comments throughout the meeting. Please raise your hand in Zoom or call now if you have any comments on the upcoming items. Plastic pollution prevention and textile recovery EPR updates, the 2024 State of Disposal and Recycling, and the Beverage Container Recycling Program. Our first agenda item is the Director's Report from CalRecycle Director Zoe Heller.
Morning, everybody. We have a pretty light agenda today, and although there are not as many items as normal, they're all very important, the ones that are on the agenda, so we're looking forward to providing updates. After a year off from our statewide report, we are back at it this year. I know at previous public meetings I talked about looking at methodology. We have not updated the methodology for this year, but we continue to look for opportunities as to what that could look like, especially with the new data that will be coming into the department. So Dan Brown will give that exciting update. And we're also coming off America Recycles Day this past weekend. You may have seen a number of local interviews that our wonderful Jessica starred in across the state, talking about things like how small steps can make a big impact, really focused in on behavior change around getting more food waste and organics into the green bin, and also returning CRV containers. So as we head into the holiday season, it's good to be aware that waste increases 25% between Thanksgiving and New Year's. I mean, that's huge, especially when you think about the amount we generate in California. So with that is an opportunity to make less waste and be a little bit more conscious about what we're doing with particularly all those leftovers that come from those holiday meals, shopping our refrigerators before going out shopping, and looking for opportunities for more reuse. So we will be sharing more tips on how to waste less and celebrate more this holiday season. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and we'll get right to the agenda. Cindy.
Next on the agenda, producer responsibility organization applications are open as part of the Responsible Textiles Responsibility Act. The solicitation letter and application form are linked in the agenda and posted on our Textile PRO application webpage. Send your applications and supporting documents to textiles@calrecycle.ca.gov by January 1, 2026. Up next, a few updates on the plastic pollution prevention law. On October 28, 2025, CalRecycle held a public meeting to present the landfill-based material characterization study revised preliminary findings update. We need a catchier title. Pretty long. You can find more information about this on the past events section of the SB 54 webpage. Regulations are expected to be finalized at the beginning of 2026. Please visit the SB 54 rulemaking webpage for more information. Finally, the Packaging Producer Responsibility Advisory Board's next meeting is this Friday in the Sierra Hearing Room at Cal EPA headquarters. Topics include an update on the needs assessment, discussion of the Plastic Pollution Mitigation Fund, and an update from the Circular Action Alliance. Check out our Packaging Producer Responsibility Advisory Board webpage for more updates. Got a lot to say today. Okay, a quick reminder of upcoming grant cycle deadlines for beverage container recycling projects. Find a full list of open grants on CalRecycle's funding webpage. Acting Policy Director Dan Brown is next with a 2024 State of Disposal and Recycling overview. Dan?
Good morning. So CalRecycle's State of Disposal and Recycling report is transitioning to a web-based format. The latest report includes details on California's 2024 waste generation, disposal, and disposal-related activities, and the recycling rate. As a preview, here's an overview of the information on the State of Disposal and Recycling webpage. CalRecycle estimates that California's overall waste generation was 77.2 million tons in 2024, Of the total waste generation, about 44.7 million tons, or 58%, went to disposal and disposal-related activities. Almost 32.4 million tons of waste were source-reduced, recycled, or composted, resulting in a statewide recycling rate of 42%, which is up slightly from 40% in 2023. The department will have separate web pages that also show recyclable material exports, including data on recyclable material sent to Mexico and seaborne exports sent to top receiving countries. CalRecycle will also present on the recyclable materials imported into California from countries overseas. In 2024, 10.18 million tons of recyclable material were exported, with a total vessel value of $5.9 billion from California ports to international markets, representing a 4% decrease in tonnage compared to 2023. CalRecycle anticipates that the webpage will be published in the near future, and I'll hand it off to the Beverage Container Recycling Deputy Director Amy Cameron for the next agenda item.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everyone. We have two quarterly reports available on this agenda. One is the quarterly report for certification and registration, and the second one is for enforcement and compliance. For program updates, visit our Beverage Container Recycling Program webpage and subscribe to the program GovDelivery listserv. Thank you.
Now on to public comments. Do we have any public comments in the room?
Got it. Hi, Shira Lane with Atrium 916, Creative Innovation Center for Sustainability. Just a couple of comments on grants. It would be really great, grants just like the reuse grant that came out, if it could be rolling. There are a lot of requirements for permits and things like that. So that's one request, is if it can be rolling more open. And second, to think more about rapid prototyping. There's a lot of innovation that's going to be needed if we want to hit our targets. So when looking at grants, to think about how can we create grants that are probably smaller scale so that we can pilot some items and see what works and what doesn't, and then from there go on. The big reuse grant, it's big, and I get it, we want to get those big numbers, but we do need to start small, fail fast, figure out what works, what doesn't, and move on from there. So just to think about that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Evan Edgar on behalf of the Edgar and Associates. I want to talk about the state of the recycling report and then about the new methodology possible. Right now we're at 42% in 2024, and that would be AB 341. We're supposed to be up to 75% by 2025. If we were to look at AB 939 by the year 2000, we're supposed to be at 50%. If you did that math, I think that we're about 51% to 52%. If you ever did an AB 939 calculation. Still very relevant because we have a PRC code with enforcement on that. So I would like to see AB 939 rate. I can calculate it myself, but I'd rather have you guys do it. If you look at SB 1383 and the progress of 1383, we're probably around 25%. We don't really know about the progress to 1383. That would be nice to have in this state of recycling. That was supposed to be at 75% this year in 2025, we're at 25%. For AB 826, that was 50% by year 2020. I don't know where we're at with that. That's for commercial organics collection, about probably 30%. We're supposed to be at 50% in 2000. And then, of course, we got AB 341. So if there's any new methodology, that'd be nice to workshop it, discuss it, because we have 4 methodologies now, and we don't really know where we're at with one of them. To introduce a new methodology, it would be challenging. I don't know what you would do with that, but I think the industry and the stakeholders would be part of that discussion.
Thanks, Evan. Appreciate those comments and hear you on looking forward to where we're at on 1383. Dan can provide a little bit more context, but what we're doing is we're finalizing the full waste characterization study right now. We initially did the push to get out the statutorily required one for 54, really focusing in on those covered material categories. And Dan's team is working hard now at finalizing for all of the categories under the waste characterization, and then we'll be able to use that to determine where we are for organics in 2024. Did I get that right, Dan?
Well, for the most part, except one caveat is that we don't have full calendar year 2025 disposal data until, May timeframe next year, and that's really when we can apply 2025 disposal rates to the characterization work that we conducted in 2025 to be able to actually wrap a bow in that assessment of our organics progress. So we are working on it. We're processing the data from the characterization study, but we also need that 2025 calendar year disposal data to really finish that calculation.
Yeah, understood. The progress for 1383 is important. The Legislative Analyst Office is supposed to release a report sometime soon on that. And we know that the legislature has been asking, as not only part of the Skinner bill, but as part of the Leg Analyst Office about when he doing the zero waste report was to get to 75% first. When does it happen? What does it cost to get there? I did a report back in 2021 with 2018 data, and I put out 75% to 2030 by material types and what it takes to get there. So there's, we haven't seen that yet from your shop about what it takes to get to 75% and when. And that's a question not only of the legislature, but it's a question of the general public and the stakeholders out here. There's no vision on what 1383 means, how much does it cost. What we saw in the city of LA to hit the 3-cart system, to kick off 1383 is about $35 to $40 per household per month. And that's the statewide average just to get the party started on 1383. Just 2 months ago, the city of LA raised their rates. They doubled them basically to go to about $70 a ton by 2030 or 2029 in order to implement the next phase of 1383. So we have a affordability crisis in California right now. But I believe that the state of California can afford 1383 with a fleet on RNG, which is the most cost-effective way to collect materials in a carbon-negative fleet with a near zero NOx. I believe the state of California could probably afford about $70 per household per month to get to 75% by 2030, and that's what the city of LA is looking at. What I don't think that California can afford is a zero waste plan with zero emission vehicles. And just doing the zero emission vehicles on the public sector, advanced clean fleet rule, is going to add another $50 per household per month. So we just double the rates in LA from 35 to 70, and to get to zero waste and zero emissions, it's going to be doubled again. And with today's affordability crisis, it's something that I've been talking about for the last couple of years up here. I was really hoping the zero waste plan was going to address that, or the state of recycling, or the state of disposal, but there's no information. So we're in a state of denial about affordability of zero waste and zero emissions in California. It'd be nice to have the state of recycling talk about this someday, but I'm up here every year with my same speech, and we haven't seen any type of deal from CalRecycle on the vision of 1383 or the cost. And this, I'm talking on behalf of the public jurisdictions I represent, the industry I represent. There's no vision on where we're going with this plan, and I was hoping the state of recycling was going to provide something. Thank you.
Do we have any comments, any other comments in the room? Comments on Zoom? On the phone? Looking ahead, please raise your hand in Zoom or call in now if you have comments on product stewardship updates or facility permits and emergency waivers. Product Stewardship Branch Chief Karen Kafitz joins us now with program updates.
Thanks, Mindy. All right, just a couple of things today. So first off, our Dealer Cooperative Stewardship Organization, Circular CRV Association, made changes to its plan on November 1st. CalRecycle approval is not needed for the submitted changes. You can find the revisions on CalRecycle's Dealer Cooperative's webpage and receive future change notifications by subscribing to email updates. Then next up, we have some announcements about our pharmaceuticals and sharps and paint care programs. CalRecycle received proposed changes to the Drug Takeback Solution Foundation's stewardship plan for covered drugs regarding reasonable geographic spread of authorized collection sites and supplemental mailback service. We received that on October 23rd, 2025. CalRecycle is reviewing the proposal as a significant change. CalRecycle accepted public comments through November 14th and will present the director's determination on a future monthly public meeting agenda. You can find the proposed changes in the public notice linked in today's agenda. And then finally, department decisions on MedProject's revised 2024 annual reports for the covered drugs and home-generated sharps waste EPR programs and Paint Care's 2024 annual report have been posted online and are linked in today's agenda. That's all for product stewardship. Back to Mindy.
Let's watch a quick solid waste permits and waivers program explainer, followed by the November 2025 updates from Program Manager Nevin Yates.
To keep Californians healthy and protect our land, food, water, and air, CalRecycle and local enforcement agencies work together. Local enforcement agencies get community input, process permit applications, conduct inspections, and make sure solid waste facilities follow the law. CalRecycle verifies that permits for solid waste facilities, including landfills and compost sites, comply with state standards and inspections. Agreeing with the LEA that a permit is ready to be issued is known as concurring. Additionally, CalRecycle reviews approved emergency waivers and can modify, limit, or end them. Emergency waivers temporarily modify solid waste facility permits for up to 120 days and may be extended, providing relief for facility operators during disasters, and they're approved by local enforcement agencies. For waste tire facilities, CalRecycle issues and enforces waste tire facility permits to make sure tires are stored and processed safely. Scan this QR code or visit CalRecycle's website for more detailed information.
Since the October monthly public meeting, the department has concurred with the LEA's issuance of the following proposed solid waste facilities permits. For Solano County, Recology Vallejo. On October 23, 2025, the department concurred with the LEA's issuance of the revised solid waste facilities permit. Action was needed by the department on December 15, 2025. For San Mateo County, Shoreway Environmental Center. On October 24, 2025, the department concurred with the LEA's issuance of the revised solid waste facilities permit. Action was needed by the department on October 26, 2025. Continuing on this month's agenda, for the City of San Diego, Sycamore Landfill. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. CalRecycle must make a decision for this permit action item by January 5th, 2026. For San Luis Obispo County, Chicago Grade Landfill. This is a modified solid waste facilities permit, where CalRecycle is the enforcement agency for this site and must make a decision on this permit action by November 30th, 2025. For Tulare County Compost Facility. This is a new composite material handling facilities permit, and action is needed by the department on December 31st, 2025. For San Joaquin County, North County Landfill and Recycling Center. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit, and action is needed by the department on December 7th, 2025.
Now on to public comments. Do we have any comments in the room?
Howdy, my name is Tony Hackett from Californians Against Waste. My comment is based on the preliminary list of manufacturer-provided battery-embedded products under the SB 1215 expansion that the department put out. There are some pretty noticeable gaps there. Totally understand that it's a preliminary list, but manufacturers in traditional electronics with battery-embedded devices that they sell, like Apple AirPod headphones, are not on the list, as well as some non-traditional manufacturers like Skechers that have light up shoes and Hallmark with battery embedded singing greeting cards. So we really would like to know how the department is going to be proactively approaching both these non-traditional and traditional manufacturers to make sure that they're incorporated in the program.
Thanks, Tony. Great question. And Kara's on the road today, so she's not able to join us. So we'll get back to you. But we are very interested in embarking on a robust education and outreach campaign associated with the expansion of the e-waste program to include battery embedded products, because there are so many new products, new manufacturers. I mean, you mentioned a few of the big ones like Apple and Hallmark, but of course there's many small manufacturers too, and we want to make sure that all of those products are captured in the program. So what we can commit to you today is I'll get with Kara when she's back. We'll have a more robust response for you on the list that's out now, and we can share a little bit more about our plan moving forward.
Thank you. Any other comments in the room?
Is this for permits or for open comment? Either?
Can be for both.
Yeah, wasn't sure. Evan Edgar for the California Compost Coalition on the Zero Waste Plan. I thought I had a commitment last month that the Zero Waste Plan was going to be on this month's agenda and that we're going to have some transparency and some docket. The public docket is very important to see what other stakeholders are saying. And from the outset 2 years ago, I've been asking for a public docket such as CARB, California Energy Commission. It's very helpful. They post in real time. And the reason I asked for it is that I'm not sure of the stakeholder engagement, if people are even care anymore. From the zero waste was invented here in California and the traditional zero wasters, and if anybody's even commenting or if they care anymore about this process. So that hasn't been posted up yet, and I thought I had a commitment that we're going to talk about it this month. And it's really important because of the fact that it has been pretty much a lack of access to the experts. It was a $2 million study with Accenture, and I looked at their qualifications of the staffers, and basically nobody had any real technical data or experience in California. So I was worried from the outset about what this report could look like, and I've been very vocal for the last 2 years about it. And still, what was provided last time was pretty embarrassing. I thought it looked like an AI-generated top-down zero waste report that could have been put together for $100,000, but you guys are being charged $2 million for that. So we haven't been able to really see any data or any access to the experts. They were supposed to, within a scope of work that was signed in your contract, they're supposed to model 2035, 2040, and 2045 by material types. That wasn't done at all. What really makes this report embarrassing was that AI generated, even with a hierarchy, they left out recovery. You know, here we are still debating hierarchy and definitions of what zero waste is, and there's reports to do the legislature in 6.5 weeks. So I'm really concerned that this report is pretty weak, doesn't do anything for anybody about modeling, affordability, the cost. We don't have any Prop 4 money here. Cap and Invest is not putting any money towards this. Any mention of a tip fee increase. We don't know how much it's costing and affordability. So this report is very important, what was scoped out. Only thing I can see by reading the report and reading the contract with Accenture, it's a huge breach of contract. They're not fulfilling the contract terms of this report, and it's pretty detailed. The zero waste plan, the scope of work is pretty detailed. That the proposal that Accenture put together was even bigger than the report itself. So I'm really concerned about this report will be put up on a shelf. It doesn't fulfill a function, and it's really at a time of need when the legislature wants to know what it takes to get to 75% at what cost, what the public wants to know, and the stakeholders. Rates are going up. They just doubled, they're going to double again. And I was really banking on the zero waste report to have some answers. And for 2 years, I've been providing data, information, content, and basically need to get nothing back but a fluff report. So I stand there frustrated in front of CalRecycle with this lack of execution of a contract and a waste of $2 million.
Good morning, Nick Lapis, Californians Against Waste. I want to follow up on something Evan said. You know, I've also been fairly critical of this process. I'm not sure we got $2.5 million worth of value out of Accenture. I do wish this had been more of an internal process that reflected California values. And I do feel that the product you all got back from Accenture wasn't great. And Evan and I have been at every workshop and we've submitted a lot of comments. That said, it actually was pretty obvious where the department stepped in and made it better. And so I do think you actually maybe not 100% salvage the $2.5 million, but you did make the report significantly better than the earlier drafts. So I did want to commend you for that. Thank you.
On process, thank you, Evan and Nick. We are still incorporating the comments from our last workshop, as well as all of the written comments that we've received. We can provide an update at the December public meeting. We're not quite there yet. We intend to meet our statutory deadline for submission. And I do want to address, Evan, your comment on AI generated. There was no AI utilized by the CalRecycle team in the final report. All of the comments that have been received since have been internalized, read, processed by CalRecycle staff, and the latest drafts of the report that you have seen have been a big lift by our team here at CalRecycle. So I hear you that you're dissatisfied with the product, but this was a lot of work that our teams put in, initially in partnership with Accenture. That contract ended. So these last iterations that you've seen have been a big lift. Dan's team, Amy's team, all of our deputies and our staff have been working on it. So I just want to correct the record on that because I'm very proud of our team and what they've done. And while you feel it doesn't meet the mark for what you're looking for, I do feel that it does set a vision, a roadmap, and is not something that we by any means intend to shelf. So we will have more engagements when the plan's submitted to figure out what those next steps are. But I do want to acknowledge the hard work that the CalRecycle team has put in over the last several months.
Other comments in the room? On Zoom or on the phone? Okay. We will post the public meeting recording in English and Spanish on YouTube in the coming days. And with that, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next month.